welcome to Techie Academy. This will be our first monthly webinar in 2025. We want to welcome everyone. Thank you for taking your time to be here. And also we want to say a big thank you to our guest speaker and the person of Ade Kumbi Adeife for accepting our invites. The essence of this webinar today, right, is for us to preach database administrator as a career, right? That when people want to pivot into data, there is a lot of interesting career paths in data. Data is very wide, but we see that a lot of people pivot into the part of reporting analytics, and that is just too popular, just too common. It now looks as if, oh, it's been saturated, and people are now complaining, oh, I cannot get a job, I cannot get a job because people are too much. And the competition out there is very high, right? So the reason why we are bringing up this webinar is to actually orientate everyone that there's a lot of interesting career paths in data. It doesn't have to be every time analytics, doesn't have to be every time reporting and dashboard, as we see on LinkedIn from time to time. People building beautiful dashboard everywhere. Database administrator is something that we, as an organization, we are interested in, and we want to build people in that area because we know there's a lot of prospects in that area. So in my place of work currently, there is a lady. She's a database admin, and I got to ask her one day. I said, "How did you pivot into database?" And she told me that some years back, that she was in a training where she even wrote some certification exams in Oracle. She explained how she was able to pipe. And she told me something that caught my attention: consistent reading, consistent knowing of updates, changes in technology, how to improve your work and all of those things, right? So those are one of the things that helped her to maintain her job and also be able to, innovate or be creative, in her job. And she has worked in several organizations before now, and she's doing well. You understand? So I see that in an organization, there's some people that they are in charge of, getting like moving that data from where it is to a place that they can do some transformations and build data warehouses from there. Some people are in charge of maintaining those databases, ensuring that there's backup. You do a lot of all that and granting access, revoking access, interesting stuff. Then they move to data, data analysts that will do reporting from that database or that data warehouse and all of those things. So I will tell you a little bit of about Techie, just a little background statements to what we stand for and who we are. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to introduce Techie. I think the slide to introduce Adeife is Adeife, I guess. Okay. Okay, so let me know if you can all see my screen. This is not what I want to share. I don't know why this thing is sharing something else. Just hold on for me, guys. Sorry. Please, can you all see my screen, please?
Yes, you can see your screen.
Thank you. So, Techie Academy is a forward-thinking edtech company committed to empowering individuals with in-demand technology skills. We specialize in delivering hands-on, industry-relevant training programs in Microsoft 365 administration, Power Platform, business intelligence development, data engineering, analytics engineering, and database administration. Our expert-led courses are designed to bridge the skill gap, enabling learners to thrive in today's data-driven and cloud-first world. At Techie Academy, we don't just teach tech, we build tech careers. So what brought about this idea for me was that I see that there's still a lot of gap in terms of tech education. I've seen people. This is a little survey. Took some people to some people. Like I went to their DMs, their tech people in different community groups where I am, and I was able to talk to them. Ask them questions around how they pivoted to tech, and some of them told me their experiences. They had registered in edtech companies that they promised them heaven on earth, and at the end of the day, they were not able to fulfill their promises. And I had things like Lens, Power BI, SQL, Python, and everything in like 3 months. I'm like, how can you learn all of this in 3 months? And they told them that at the end of the 3 months, you'll be able to get a good job, you'll be able to secure even remote opportunities all around the world with a 3 month. That's like a shortcut. There's no shortcut to tech, right? It's either you know it or you are out of the game. It's nothing like I know a little or I'm in the middle. I was looking at somebody's post recently on LinkedIn, and the guy was like, "There's nothing like entry level when it comes to tech again, right? It's nothing like I'm entry level. I'm looking for entry level position. You must build your skill to a level that even after doing a training, I've seen people here in Canada that they did a 6 months, 7 months, 8 months boot camp, learning stuff, building solutions, and at the end of the day, some of them they got senior roles as their first role in tech. It is possible, right? They got senior roles because they were able to build something and they were able to communicate what they built. They were able to explain it well to the recruiter and to the hiring manager that I'm capable of doing this work. I know how to do this stuff, right? I know my onions. So I did the survey and I saw that there's still a lot of gap, and there's still a lot of issues with edutech companies, we're promising to people. And I see that we have too many short programs in Nigeria, too many short programs, because companies just want to come, collect their money, teach you the basics and go. And they'll tell you, oh, if you want to learn the advanced part of things again, you have to, pay another extra fee for you to learn the advanced part. So in Techie, we are doing things differently in terms of our programs are not short programs. They are highly intensive
Voilà,
programs.
chacun contribue chaque mois à hauteur de 1 000 euros.
So is that
Un peu une forme de tontine, mais où il n'y a pas de.
our programs are, please, we can mute yourself, please, in case you have a noisy background. Our programs are, they range between 9 to 12 months. The least one is 9 months. So the curriculums we are built by people who have experience of more than 7 years on the job. They were the ones that crafted the curriculum. So imagine somebody building curriculum that the program will last for at least 9 months. You should know that that is highly intensive. Another interesting thing that we do at Techie is that we also have what is called customized programs. So customized programs mean that you as a professional, you might not have enough time to say you want to sit down to learn something for 9 to 12 months. You might just say, you know what, I know this, I know that. Let me just come here and just teach me 2 out of 7, or maybe you have some sort of requirements or some sort of areas that you want to improve on, and you don't want to do the whole learning for 9 to 12 months, right? For example, we had a client recently that requested that she wants to learn something in every area related to data because she's a data governance specialist where she works, and she requested that she wants to learn the database administrator part and the data governance part that relates to that, and she wants to know the engineering part and how it relates to our work, and also the reporting part and how it relates to data governance. So we have some clients like that they request for customized curriculum, based on what they want. They don't have enough time to sit down and be in a class for 9 to 12 months. So we also offer that. So that is a little background about Techie Academy. We are here to fill the gap. We are here to evangelize to you that there are different career paths in tech that you can go for, or you can pivot to. It doesn't have to be analytics all the time. It doesn't have to be reporting all the time. It doesn't have to be dashboard and and report all the time. It doesn't have to be Power BI and Tableau all the time. There's a lot of career path you can go into. Now, let me just give you a little background of detail about some of the programs that we are offering. So the Microsoft 365 administrator is focused on a lot of things. Some people that don't know that will be on this call, these are the guys that when you resume a new job, they will be the one creating setting up your exchange. They'll be the one setting up your teams, they will be the one to create a new email for you, do your system configuration, do all those security stuff on your laptop that you cannot export stuff outside. You cannot use a flash drive with your laptop. You can't copy company's data. So they are the ones that they do a lot of stuff, like a lot of configuration, installation, and yeah, there's a lot more to their work. Like it's more than what you think. It's more than the 365. There's a part of compliance, there's a part of security, and a whole lot, sincerely. And it's a very interesting career path, right? uh if you register for this program is at least 12 months, right? It's at least 12 months because you are going to be learning a lot of stuff about everything Microsoft 365, right? Not just the tools and how to configure and install stuff. It's going to also involve the part of security, tenant settings, how you can manage stuff at the tenant level, at the global level, and a whole lot of in-depth stuff that's embedded inside that program. For the Power Platform program, it's going to be 3 months of Power BI, 3 months of Power Apps, and 3 months of Power Automate. And also the Power Automate also involves the robotic automation parts, right? They are going to be also be learning that in 3 months. So 3 months for Automate, 3 months for Power BI, 3 months for Power Apps. And after that, you are going to be writing the certification exam, which is the PL 900. And also you are going to, even while, going through your program, you are going to do a lot of assignments, a lot of presentation, because we notice that a lot of people know stuff, but they cannot communicate. So communication skill is a problem to a lot of people, right? So during your program, you're going to be doing a lot of presentations, group assignment, and a whole lot of stuff like that will come in, right? Our business intelligence development program, right? We call it the BI developer program. It involves you learning Excel, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, Python, and you're going to be learning SSIS and SSAS. You're going to be learning how to develop a warehouse, right? How to move data from the application database, the OLTP to OLAP, right? And it's going to be from how to schedule packages using SSIS and a whole lot of stuff, data flow, control flow. It's going to be really, really in-depth, right? And we make sure that for the business intelligence developer program, it is majorly for those that want to build warehouses on-prem, right? So that was the way we structured that program. It's also a 12-month program, highly, highly intensive. Data engineering program is more of cloud-based. It means that you're going to be learning SQL, Python, PySpark. You're going to be learning DBT. You're going to be learning Snowflake, and also you're going to be learning Azure Databricks. And it's for 12 months. In fact, we even have to squeeze the program schedule to 12 months because it's a lot of stuff embedded in there. And the person that built this curriculum has more than, in fact, the guy is, I think this is 8 year on the job. So he's very experienced and he was the one that built the curriculum because we consulted a lot of people who are experts in the field to build these curriculums, right? The analytics engineering program is more focused on Microsoft Fabric, right? It means that that program is not for those that are beginners, right? It's for those that have prior knowledge about data, whether you are coming from a database administrator, whether you're coming from a data, you are a data analyst at the moment, or you probably know about Power BI a lot. It will be like an upgrade for you, learning Microsoft Fabric, right? Our database administration program it has two major focus area. We have the part of the Oracle DBA and the part of the SQL DBA. And we did that because there's a lot of demand for Oracle database administrators, and there's also a lot of demand for SQL. So it all depends on the organization. But what we did is that for the Oracle data, for the database administration program, you can only register for one at a time. You can't combine the SQL Server DBA with the Oracle DBA class. You have to either pick one at a time because for the Oracle alone, it's a lot of stuff embedded inside, not to talk of SQL Server DBA. So we designed the program that way, that you either go for Oracle or you go for the SQL Server. So that is a little bit of background about the programs that we offer. And we are going to start classes first week in August for those that are interested in registering. So let me move on. So this is about me. I'm the founder of the company. I'm a senior data analyst. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm also a Microsoft certified Power BI analyst associate. I lead two communities at the moment, the Winnipeg Power Platform User Group and also Data Jobs Nigeria. And for Data Jobs Nigeria, I think for now we are even more than 1,000 people on that group. For my years of experience, I have more than 5 years of work experience. I'm a technical trainer. I've trained a lot of people in the past. I would say 3,000 plus because if I combine paid and unpaid, community and everything together, it's going to be more than 3,000 people, right? I've worked across several sectors. Currently, I'm in healthcare, right? I've worked in manufacturing, I've worked in logistics, I've worked in retail. And I've been able to deploy a lot of solutions in terms of analytics. My technical skills are in Excel, Power BI. My focus area is more of Power BI, right? So if you look at my YouTube page, I do more of the technical part of Power BI, right? SQL, SSI, SSAS, Fabric, Power Apps, especially model driven is my core area, and Power Automate. So that is just a little background about me. Now, today we are going to hear from somebody who has experience on the job, who would tell you, somebody like you is about to pivot into data, or you've been in a particular area and you want to switch to another area, and you feel like, oh, where I am, I need something more, or maybe I want to improve on my skills. It will even tell us, what is even database admin? What does that even mean? What did they even do? What is a day in the life of a database admin? What are some of the more of the stereotype that comes with the work? And what are the hard truths about being a database admin, right? What is the interesting part? What is the prospects of you being a database admin? Because in Tech Academy, we are offering programs that we know that they are global, they are globally accepted programs, that courses that by the time you are done, that anywhere in the world you can apply for a job. It doesn't matter whether you're in North America or you are in Africa or Australia or Europe or anywhere. These are career paths that you'll be able to compete with anybody all over the world. And it's so interesting these days that in Nigeria, a lot of people are now getting remote jobs, remote gigs, and it's not even like a norm. But I noticed sometimes also that it's two things. It's either people that position themselves strategically, right, on LinkedIn, or people who have built their technical skills so much that they'll be able to, probably apply or get a remote job or a remote gig from different companies, throughout the world. And I introduce Adeife Adekunbi. He will be the one to talk to us today. It's going to be an interesting section. You can still send the link to your friends who here to hear about what is database administration and how one can pivot into that career path. So thank you so much, everyone. Adeife, you have the floor now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Gbenga. For those that don't know Mr. Gbenga, DMO, he has been one of the great evangelists in advocacy of tech on LinkedIn. So it's a privilege being on your platform. I'm not taking it for granted. And good evening, everyone. Good morning. And for any part of the world you're watching from, and my name is Adekunbi Adeife. So some of my Indian friends will call me Adeife. So feel free to call me anyone that is suitable. Now, diving into database administration. So basically, we'll be looking at. Okay, please kindly confirm which of my screen you are seeing. Is it
you can reshare. We are seeing the slide navigator. What's it called?
Okay.
Not the actual slide itself.
Okay, let me just a minute. Okay. I'm trying to extend my screen. So just a minute. No wonder I have a lot of sections. Okay. Okay, so are we good now?
Yes.
Please kindly confirm if you can see my screen. Yes. Okay. So we'll be talking about database administration masterclass, and we'll be looking at the course outline, just few sections talking about me, my journey into database administration, understanding data roles, career paths, and global opportunities for DBA, key technical and soft skills, then performance tuning demo, next step after the course, why Techie is the right launch pad, then QA, career advice, and hopefully we can have a group picture section and appreciation. About me, my name is Adekunbi Adeife, and I'm a dedicated husband and a proud father of two amazing kids. Professionally, I currently work as a database architect consultant. With a strong background in application support, database management, I'm passionate about solving complex data challenges and helping organizations build efficiency, a scalable data system. Now, how my journey into database administration, it's a bit funny, but I try to jot a few down. Okay, after completing my NYC, I began my career as a. Sorry. Okay. You can mute. Okay, sorry for the interruption. After completing my NYC, I began my career as a bank marketer with a monthly target of 5 million naira in this Ekiti, Nigeria here. A small local community largely made up of civil servants. Meeting this target proved to be extremely challenging due to the nature of the environment. After a few years of persistent effort, I decided to transition back to my core field, information technology, having studied computer science at the University of Ilorin. My tech journey officially began when I secured my first role at Intech Global Technology, a growing SME in the tech space. I was hired as an application support database trainee. Even though I had no prior experience in the role, it was a steep learning curve, but with company support and training, I developed my skills and eventually rose to become the team lead of application support and database management. This role solidified my foundation in database administration and prepared me for future opportunities in the field. And you can see a picture of me. This was my first day when I was resuming in the bank. And I think the one I was putting on, was back in the bag, was the first day I resumed back into my tech journey. That was when I started my tech journey. And it's challenging. Yes, I left school, the nature of Nigerian job. So I started as a bank person and marketing before I eventually decided to go back to tech. So it's whichever background you are joining us from today, it's possible for you to transition to tech and it's doable. It's not a rocket science. It's something a lot of people have done and it's working for them. I'm a testimony of the fact that you can cross from one background to another background and you do fine in no time. Okay. Now let's dive into one of the basic the main focus of the day, understanding data roles. Now, database administration is the main point of focus. So what is database administration? Database in actual sense is data, base, storage. Joining it together makes it database. What is data? Information, raw information being collected before being processed. Where are we storing them? Into a base. What makes it database? That is what database is all about. So now information is being stored in database and some people have to administer it. And those people that administer it are called database administrator. And what are their key responsibilities? Primary focus is database infrastructure, performance, security, and reliability. We are in the era of a lot of database. We have a lot of database infrastructure. We have premise infrastructure. We have cloud infrastructures. So we have a lot of infrastructure. But based on database, you need to understand your primary focus as database administrator is administering database, basically. So then you look at performance, you ensure the optimal performance from query response, IO response, backup activity. You make sure that your database is not in distress, because I do use that word distress because the moment your database starts crying for resources, then that means the database is in distress. And it's either you give resources or you track down the point of the problem and you resolve it. Okay. Key responsibilities of a database administrator: database installation and configuration and maintenance. Yes, there are processes that must be followed in installing databases. One of the key processes that must be followed is where to understanding the kind of environment you're installing your database on. Is it a Linux environment? Is it a Windows environment? All these things have different installation packages, different installation guides. So you need to understand configuration. Configuration depends on workload, database size. It varies. So you need this. There are general configuration. There are standard configurations that come with databases. But as a database administrator, you must understand specifics. Configuration specific that suits your environment. That is why database configuration is not one size fits all. Environment, workload, database size determines configuration, and the resources that are behind the database determines your configuration. Now, for security, yeah, security is a must. Database confidential data are being kept in databases, so you must be able to implement security features like login, two-factor authentication, access control, table role, restriction, a lot of configurations that can be done in that. Then we talk about reliability, that is high availability, ensuring data is always available when needed. Now, performance tuning, optimization, backup and recovery strategy, security, implementation and access control, database monitoring and troubleshooting, capacity planning and scaling. I think I've explained all that when I was talking about configuration initially. Then tools. Now, based on database, we have various flavors. We have SQL Server, we have Postgres, we have MySQL, we have Oracle, we have NoSQL databases, Cassandra, Redis, a lot of databases. So you need to understand which tool each database is using. Like SQL Server now, Microsoft SQL database uses SQL Server Management Studio. Oracle Enterprise Management, that is being used by Oracle database. MySQL Workbench is being used by MySQL. Postgres uses pgadmin. Then we have a lot of monitoring tools. Now, you need to familiarize yourself with this. Though I will still go into details of this and which area and how to pick area of your specialization in later slides. Please, if I'm too fast, try to let me know. You can just raise up your hand. I will try to pick you so you can talk and tell me if you're too fast or you have questions to ask. Then another data role is data engineering. Majorly, they focus on data pipeline architecture and infrastructure, building and maintaining ETL pipelines, data warehouses, lake architecture, streaming processes, real-time data system, data integrations from multiple sources, infrastructure as a code. Now, data engineering guys, they are the guys behind a lot of data pipelines. Many people might be wondering what is pipeline. That is like the connection of various, is like a connection between various data sources. They integrate the various databases source of point to one single data source, and they made a lot of discovery out of those data. They make a lot of findings out of those data. They work around it, they fine tune it, and those are the guys that are called data engineers. Now, one of the most common role is analytics guys. Everybody needs to have that skill. It is not for some specific set of people, because data is live, data speaks. So as a data analyst, you allow your data to tell your story, and that is one thing they do. How do they do that? They write SQL queries for data analysis, creating reports and dashboard. Most of all those dashboards are seeing Power BI, Tableau. They come up to tell a story. They project. They give you annual projection reports. All those things. They do all those things. Statistic analysis, business requirement gathering, data visualization, storytelling. Like I do tell people, if you're a data analyst, allow your data to tell your story. Don't be biased, because it can affect critical decisions. So they allow data to tell the stories. They bring out hidden facts in data that can help you grow. That can help you grow, your business grow. And you can assume, let's give an example. You are into maybe a drink selling business and you're assuming that people buy Coke more than Fanta, and at the end of the year, you do your statistics analysis and you discover that you sold more Fanta than Coke. Now, if you don't allow it, if there is no data analyst that has analyzed the data, you might not get that hidden fact. Because when your customer comes, you used to observe that people request for more Coke. But when your data is telling the story, it's not telling you that Fanta sells better than Coke in terms of your bottom line revenue. And I think it is interesting skill that everybody should have in terms of allowing data to tell a story. Data scientists, many people don't know these guys, but they are the ones behind most banks implementations. Most banks, let me say, when you want to borrow a loan from a bank and without you confronting anybody, a system is telling you you qualified for the loan, you're not qualified, you're this. Majorly, these are the guys that do it. They train models. They allow data. They pick a pattern from from historical data to make decisions, electronic automated decisions. So these are the guys that do that. They call them data scientists. It's advanced analytic, machine learning, predictive modeling. Like I said, when you supply some data, they can tell you, okay, if you are not above 18, you cannot request for this loan. When you supply your age, they will train the model to be able to say, no, this does not pass, this falls into this category. Oh, you're a salary earner. Why are you requesting for SME loan? This is where you fall into, this is your bucket. Now, why am I using bank as an example? Because I have banking experience and I've supported the application. I understand how it works. So not only banks, they train a lot of data, like Netflix. When you watch a movie, somebody will not suggest another movie. These are the guys that train the model. They are called data scientists. So their key responsibility is machine learning model development, statistical analysis, hypothesis, feature engineering, model development, and research and experiment. So most of all these guys still rely on database because there is somewhere they get their data from, which is database. Now, going into database architects, yes, currently this role keeps flying around. You see people saying, oh, we have opening for database architects, we have opening for this, we have opening for database architects. Now, currently I'm a database architect, and what we do as a database architect, it's like an advanced role, is a step higher than just being a regular database administrator. Now, what database architects do is that they are not making responsive decision. They make a how will I put it? They are not reactive, but they make a decision that are being proactive. Yes, they are not reactive, we are being proactive. Then we'll talk about the architecture of database. They sit down with developers to understand database schemas, which database will be suitable for which application, data governance frameworks. They do a lot of integration, architecture planning. It's more than just database administration level. They are a step higher in terms of planning your database structure, how your database should work, what are the standards around your database architecture as a whole. Oh, if you are going to use Cassandra, why are you using Cassandra for this application? What is the security features that is required by Cassandra? How should it be regularly maintained? What are the sensitive data in it? They understand data governance. So it's more like just a senior role. But most senior DBAs, database administration, they transition into database architect. So at a database architect level, you are not expected to be attending to reactive alarms like database administration tasks daily, but you're expected to be building architecture. You're expected to be doing something that is more like an oversight role for DBAs in terms of implementation. So then we have specialized roles in data ecosystem. Earlier, Mr. Gbenga talked about cloud database specialists. We have people that sit with that are now cloud database specialists. Azure, AWS, we have Google platforms. Some companies now do have their own cloud services. So we have guys that focuses on cloud database. Now, why do you need these guys? They help you understand costs and management and implementation of database on Azure platform, because on Azure platform, there are various on cloud platforms, there are various services they render, like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and you need, so these guys are the ones that will advise you on based on your database size, what you need. These are the kind of resources you need. These are the kind of subscription you should make, and they help you save resources because this is what they are good at. Yes, basically, most of them, people that transition into this role, mostly are DBAs, because you still need a little or vast knowledge of understanding of database administration to be able to know how to allocate resources and how to request for resources, because cloud database specialist, cloud solutions for database are quite expensive. You can log into Azure and try to just open 1 or 2 instances on Azure, and the next ticket you'll be seeing will be $1,005 per month, $8,005 per month for database. So you need guys like this to help you understand usage cost management. Then we have database developers. A lot of people don't know that this is actually an area of specialization for database. Database developers are guys that write queries. They are very good. They write queries, they develop functions, they build store procedures for applications. Mostly they work with application developers in writing queries, fine-tuning queries, optimization of queries. Very good. So this is also an area of specialization. I've once worked for a company as a database developer, and I was there for like 2 years. So it's interesting role, but it's just that you need to understand how to write query very well. That's one of the advantage of that. Then we have data warehouse administration. Then we have business intelligence developer. I think Mr. Binga has talked about this. Maybe he peeped into my slide. So I won't waste too much time on that. Okay, career path and global opportunities. Now, for beginners, I do advise, don't jump. Don't say because, oh, I've done database course for 3 months, let me quickly just go to mid-level, let me quickly just go to senior level. And that is where many people fail. And as a database administration, your failure can be a great cost on the organization, because your organization rely on your data. Now, maybe later in the course, I will tell you one of my learning points when it comes to disaster handling. Okay, so it's advisable to start from junior role. It's not a shame to be on junior role. Learn from there. You can just be under maybe mid-level DBA and start learning from them, ask questions. You can also join at mid-level, but what you're expected at junior level is routine database maintenance. You should be able to do your backup, basic monitoring, then assisting. You are not taking so much responsibility. It's based on sincere analysis of your skill. Don't rush things, because it's easy to get your fingers burned when it comes to production databases. For mid-level DBA, then you start looking at performance tuning, security management, disaster recovery, that is patching, scripting. You can do that at that point. That means you have built confidence to understand, oh, this is what should be done. I understand where this challenge is coming from, and you can attend to it with more maturity and more confidence. Then as senior DBA or lead DBA, then you start looking at architecture design, schema designs, scalability plan, what kind of high availability implementation do you want to do, your disaster recovery plan, that's your DR plan. Then you start looking at that, then overseeing, handling high availability. So that is one of the senior job role, whereby you are looking at high availability and ensuring data is available at all the time. Now, then you transit into data architects. So that is more of a senior role. Then I think in management cadre, the highest we can get to is maybe a database manager or chief data officer. That is mostly, I think chief data officer is always our peak for us in DBA roles in terms of career growth. Then key technical and soft skills. Okay, for technical and soft skills, we have various database platforms. This place, let me explain so that you understand what this means. Now, currently, Techie said they are running database administration courses for Oracle and SQL Server. yes, I expected someone to say, why Oracle and SQL Server? One of the things we've realized from research, from findings, is that virtually every organization uses either SQL Server or Oracle. They are both costs. They are not free. They are enterprise applications, so they are expensive. Oracle and SQL Server. But along the line, there are some guys that came up with open source databases like Postgres. Now, Postgres, they have their own enterprise version now, and they still have their open source. They have their own enterprise platform, which is handled by EDB. Yes, EDB. I can't remember their full name now, but it's handled by EDB. Then we have MySQL. I think MySQL now currently is a version of Oracle or partially Oracle. I can't remember the details now, but they are both open source. Now, for cost efficiency, organization uses Oracle or SQL Server for their core application, while they now use Postgres or MySQL for their supporting applications like services. Now, let me give you an instance in bank sector now. Let's say Finacle now. Finacle, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Finacle is based on Oracle. So now, if Finacle is based on Oracle, that means other supporting applications like their mobile app, SMS, management gateway, email services, sometimes I think their website, they can now put all those ones on the open source application just to cut costs. Now, for a DBA, I will advise you pick one main source, that is one enterprise DB and one open source for a DBA. At least no one enterprise, then no one open source. That means you can pick Oracle and patch it with MySQL. Yes. Or you pick SQL Server and patch it with support it with maybe Postgres. Currently, I do SQL Server, Postgres, MySQL, MariaDB. MariaDB and MySQL are almost the same thing, and Cassandra. But why am I able to do this is because over time, organizations I move to, when we are changing maybe database for new applications that does not support, that are not effectively supported by, maybe it's not suitable for maybe Postgres. Like currently we are doing monitoring services from organization now runs on Cassandra. Now you need to go and learn Cassandra, bring yourself up to speed on it and start supporting it. So what am I trying to say? Most of the time, the organization you are working with will determine the kind of flavor you work with mostly. But for a starter, at least know one enterprise and one open source is key. Then familiarize yourself with Linux, because most organizations out there now is Linux environment, Linux. So at least know a bit of Linux and Windows support for SQL Server. So now for cloud platforms, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platforms. Cloud platform is now growing and is becoming more popular day by day. So it's expected to learn it. Yes. NoSQL databases like MongoDB, Cassandra, Redis, a lot of flavors are coming out. So you can just pick one of them to understand how NoSQL databases, how they work. They are mostly file databases, unlike the normal RDBMS structure. Then automation tool. For organizations now, they don't expect you to log into servers, your database servers, independently, like sequentially, like one by one, to do one or two things. Let me give you an instance. If you're in an organization that has maybe over 50 data centers and you have to upgrade your SQL server of the old 50 data center, currently Windows 10 has reached end of life and everybody's porting to Windows 11. That means those 50 data centers has to be upgraded. Logging into one of them and running the upgrade manually is stressful. So you need to have an automation skill. And that is why most organizations now have automation skills. And that's where DevOps role comes in, automation role like Ansible, Terraform, Bash script, Python script. Those are just to enable automation. It's just to enable automation. Or maybe you want to quickly roll out a fix, or you want to generate sample data. A lot of things require automation in our job today. Backup automation, a lot of things are done automatically. So you need to have automation skill. But like I said, you might not have everything. You cannot have everything at once. It's going to be gradually. But just put it at the back of your mind that it is needed. Then containerization, Docker, Kubernetes. Yes, Kubernetes is on the high rise now. And I think it is essential that for a tech person, you understand how Kubernetes works, because most of applications now, most organizations are switching to Kubernetes environment just because of self-healing, support, and implementations, and simple implementation, and it's easy to manage. So you can learn implementation. If you understand Kubernetes, or if you understand Docker, it will be very easy for you to understand Kubernetes. I promise you, it is not difficult. These courses are just a few things that you need to learn, and you are good to go. Then you need to understand monitoring too, because the only way your database can communicate under distress is when you have a monitoring tool, you implement an alert system, or you have a monitoring dashboard that shows real-time activity happening on your dashboard. We have Splunk, we have Datadog, we have Grafana, we have Percona monitoring tool, extended events. So each databases have their own monitoring tool, while some are more are cross-platform. So, but you can just pick one of it to learn. Then soft skills, yes, problem solving, analytical thinking, yes, because okay, hope I'm not too fast, please. Okay. So when you talk about soft skills, we are looking at problem solving, analytical thinking. Yes, it's very, very important. You must be able to understand what the challenge might be. And like, for example, if you are getting a response, or you are getting an alert that a database is slow in terms of IO, that's input and output, and then you should be looking at, okay, then that means it should be within the range of that is storage issue. Then we are looking at, CPU utilization. Then you're looking at, is there enough RAM? You should be able to have an idea of, you should be able to think, you should be able to understand, you should be able to familiarize yourself with the environment to understand that, okay, when this problem occurs, this is what should happen. It's just, you must be curious, because most of the time, it's not one size fits all. Because IO is high today, might be because of another incident. So there are a lot of, you must be somebody that have a never give up spirit. Because one of the things I've learned in my career, and that's what I do tell myself, if others can do it, I can do it as well. It's just going to take time. So I don't really rush to seek for help. I try to do research. I try to fix it. It is when I'm not getting headway, I cannot say, oh, do you have an idea of this? Can you just give me a hint of what might happen? Yes, collaboration is key, but always try. Don't always run to people at first. Try to do it yourself. Try to get it right. And communication, like I said, communication is key. Communication is, you must know how to communicate. You must know how to interpret. Now, let me give you an instance. For example, like I said, a database is, you are noticing the IO chart is showing high, maybe above your threshold of maybe 80, the IO is showing 90, and you want to communicate to your colleague, and you're telling the colleague there is a red bar that is above 90. He does not understand what you're saying. Every profession has his own language. You must learn to communicate in data language. You must learn to communicate in the language that surrounds your career path. That is very, very key. Communicate so that anybody that you're explaining to can quickly come to your aid. They can understand what you're saying. Project management, yes, is key, because most of implementations in database administration is project-based. Oh, set up this, configure this, upgrade this. Most of all these are project-based now. We are in the era of agile now. Most companies are agile. So, and if you are in that kind of environment, you should understand that projects is what you do. At every time somebody is rolling out a project, you're on this, Jira ticket is being opened. And if you don't understand how project works, project priority, that's tax priority. You need to have project idea. I'm not saying go and be a project management. No, go and do project management course, but just have idea of how project management works, what is expected of you, what is backlog, understand all these terminology so that when you are in project meetings and people are speaking, you can easily communicate and you can easily understand what they're saying. Vendor management, yes, is key as well. Some organizations use vendors a lot in data administration, data management. So if you're an internal DBA, learn how to manage your vendors, learn how to communicate, learn how to be polite. Don't say because I'm on the internal level, you are rude. Because I've faced the two sides of I've been on the two sides. So I've been a consultant, that is the vendor, and I've been an in-house person. So I know how funny it can be. Now, business acumen, what that means is you must understand the business logic of your business. When you're having a conversation, understanding the business logic, you must not be the one everybody is explaining something to when it comes to the business idea of your organizations, because you are the one sitting behind the database. You must understand what they are saying. You must understand what they are doing. You must understand the implementation flow. You should understand how it affects the business. You should understand your peak period. You should understand the period you can afford downtime. These are business specifics. Yes, you should understand how to sell your skill. These are business specifics. So it's something you should learn. And I believe all these things, you can learn them by going to webinar. All these soft skills, there are things you can learn by going to this kind of webinar. These are things people teach and you can learn it. Okay. Now, going to one of the most interesting section of the day. So that is performance tuning demo. And this is just to enlighten you on one of the things we do as DBA, just walk you through few things that we do as DBA on a daily basis and see how interesting it is. So now I'll be focusing on identifying problem areas in queries, which I want to believe everybody have an idea of what a query is. When you write SQL query languages to retrieve information, then we are looking at how to identify problem with it, because most of the time, people leave problems in queries for DBA to solve, and by the time the problem will be identified by DBA, it might be on the production environment already and might be giving headache. So yes, you can't catch it all, but at least when we try to sensitize people on how to identify problem in their own query themselves, I believe it helps everybody, because such bad query will not end up in production environment that will not lead to a more bigger issue. Like one of my mentors will always say, it's better to catch the problem in test environment than to catch it in production, because at that point it becomes urgent and you might not be able to have time to think it through or to implement the best solution, because at that point what you'll be running for is just to ensure that the problem leaves the production. Okay, so I will be using SQL Server for the demo, and this section is open. When I'm running any command, it looks funny, or you want to ask question, please just let me know. I will quickly ask you to share your screen or to unlock your mic. Then you can tell me what you would like to share. Okay. Now, for most of the time, when queries comes in, one of the things you should always do when you write a query is ensure you run your execution plan. Ensure you run your execution plan of the query. Every database has their own execution plan command. Run your execution plan. Try to read it. Try to understand it. Try to make sure that it is safe for large data. Don't only run the execution plan on small data and believe, oh, it's fine. Try to test your data. Now, for execution plan, there are 3 types of execution plan. We have the estimated, we have the actual plan, and we have the live query statistics. This is the live query statistics is for SQL Server, while the estimated plan and actual plan, virtually all database flavor has it. For Postgres, it is called explain plan, explain, analyze. So all databases have it. So it is expected that before you run a query, before you roll out a query in production, run your execution plan. So now, okay. Now, I'll be using AdventureWalk, and AdventureWalk, if you're on Google, just type AdventureWalk demo or SQL Server, you can get this demo database. It's free online. You can just download it. I can share the link at the end of this course. It's free. It's just for demo purpose. So I'll just be using it for the test environment. Okay. Now, for SQL Server, we have languages. We have T-SQL, which means, let me just say advanced SQL language. So we call it transaction SQL language. So it helps you to write a lot of command instead of you clicking. So like I do tell people, learn your commands. It's better than learning buttons. Learn your command, because all environments are not the same. In Linux environment, it's very difficult for you to see buttons, except you're using the graphics interface one. But most of the time, Linux environment is command-based. So learn your command. It helps you to build confidence, and it takes you to the professional level. Because when you're having conversation with people and they see that you write more of command than looking for buttons. But for a beginner, please, you are free. You can start with your buttons. So, okay. For SQL Server, when you log in, this is your SSMS. You can see your this is your estimated. That's it. This when you click on this button, it gives you your when you write a query, it gives you the estimated plan. That it does not mean it is running the query. It is just giving you the estimation. Like if I run this query now, select all from this is the table. Okay, let's pick it from here. Now, when I run into this table, select sales order details. Yes, this is the table. Now, if I run this, because my explain plan is on, you see, it gives me this explain plan. It gives me this execution plan. This is my execution plan. What this is telling me is that does not mean this query was executed. It just gives me the estimated. That's the amount of resources that will be consumed. Then you now have to look into your execution plan to understand, okay, is this safe? Like this execution plan now, as far as I'm concerned, this is not too ideal. Why? Because this is using cluster index scan. Don't worry, I will talk more about it in this section. There's a lot of demo that will make you to understand. Now, when you look at this now, the expense cost is 98% on doing index scan. What this means is there's an index on this table. If I come here for SQL Server, if you come here and you open this panel, and you are looking down, you can see the index. Then this is the index name that is using. If I over this cluster index scan, it will show me the index name that is using. So you can easily see the index name under objects. That is the index name. That's primary key that is being using, but it's doing index scan. That means it's scanning through all the index pages. So now, for example, this is my estimated plan. This same thing that I did now with this button, I can as well do it with T-SQL command. Now, let me copy a T-SQL command and paste it here. Now, when you turn this on, I say set show plan XML. When I run this to turn this on, and I run the same command, I can see the same thing I saw earlier. It's easy. So as far as we go, it is expected that with the more you grow, please try to learn your command without relying without relying so much on buttons. So now, to what I was saying something earlier, I said when you are running this kind of command, they don't actually delete. Estimation don't delete. Estimation don't actually run the command. They only give estimates. They don't actually do the command. And many people will say, no, that is not true. So just to enable us test it, we can test it with this with this query. Can we see this query? Okay, I don't want this guy. Now, if I run this query, you can see this query is returning results. But when I turn on my estimated plan and I run this query, if I run this query, it won't give me it won't return anything. Can you see why? Because this query is just giving me an estimation. It's not actually running the query. It's just telling me this is what it will take. Let me run a delete statement. You see that nothing will happen. This is a delete. If I run it now, you see, nothing is happening. It's just going to give me an estimate, basically. Now, that is for estimation. Okay. Then actual. What actual will do is actual will run the query and give you the actual costs. It will run the query and give you the actual. Most of the time, estimation is just to give an idea, but try to use your actual so that when you run your actual, you can understand what is the plan that will be used. If the execution plan is not good enough, you can know that, oh, this query is faulty, and you can start fine-tuning it, optimizing it. Okay, let me quickly demo how actual works. What should we do? Okay, just a minute. Okay, now this is for SQL Server. This is how to turn on actual. Clicking on this button, you can see it. When you look at it, it shows include actual execution plan, and that is how to turn it on. But for your SQL language, for your T-SQL language, you can use this command. If I still use this command, it turns it on as well. Then, okay, I forgot to turn off my estimation plan. Let me turn it off. So that's one of the things you should ensure you are doing when you are using command. So now I'm turning on my actual this set statistic profile on. When I run this now, it's going to actually run the command. You can see it's giving me results, and at the same time, it's giving me the execution plan. This is what it's doing in cluster index scan. It's similar to what you saw earlier, but now this is the actual. This is the number of rows is returning. This is the steps it's taking. Always know that you are reading from down to up, left to right. You are not reading from up to down. So like this now, the first thing it's doing is to do index scan, cluster index scan. That is step 4. It goes to step 3. It goes to that step where it computes. It goes to step 2. It does final completion. Then step 1, where it gives the results. Now you can see estimated row is what is returning per each step, and you can see the amount estimated IO is the amount of time is spent on getting the data from the storage. Then the amount of time is spent, that's your CPU processing the data, that's your CPU. Then average rows, you can see total sub-tree cost, that's each step. What is the cost of each step? So this can help you to track the faulty area of your query. I'll be doing a more deeper demo where we'll see how this plays out in a while. So now, but one thing I want us to, you can see now, statistics XML is also the same thing with profile. They do the same thing. The only difference is the way it outputs the explain plan is different. Let me turn off this. If I turn this off now, and I turn on the one with XML, what is going to happen is it's going to give me my report in XML format. That's just what it's doing. Once I turn this on, you can see it's giving me in XML format, which is similar to what we saw earlier. So it's still just showing cluster index scan. But don't worry, I will still explain further how this works. Now, let me quickly go back to my slide. I don't want to miss anything. Okay, then we look at types of loops. Now, when we are looking at types of loop, we are looking at cluster index, non-cluster. We are looking at cluster and non-cluster seek. cluster and non-cluster scan. Now, for every table in database, it is expected that you have something we call clustered index. You have every table is expected to have one cluster index, and you can have multiple non-cluster index. Cluster index, what they do most especially is they help in ordering the table. They help to determine how the table is being ordered. So that is why you can only have one cluster index on a table. But non-cluster index, you can have multiple non-cluster index on a table. But the importance of index is that index works as a pointer. When there is an index, it is just like I'm opening a index of a book. When you purchase a book and you want to read a particular topic, you can easily just look through the index to go to the page number. Now, when you have index on your database, it works exactly the same way. It makes your query go straight to the index location, picks the index number, takes the pointer, and gives you results instead of looping through all pages. That's how index works. Now, the index that is used in ordering the pages is called clustered index. It orders it. It makes sure that your database is ordered in that manner. House 1, house 2, house 3, house 4, house 5. Non-cluster index does not care. The only thing it does is it works as FIFO. You are creating, I'm creating an index on states. They open Adamawa, they created Adamawa colon first, it picks Adamawa. They opened Zamfara next, it picks Zamfara. Then the next one, they open Abuja, it picks Abuja. But cluster index is going to what? Order them. AB comes before AD. Do you understand now? So it is serial. It orders it. But while non-cluster index is just pointer, it keeps pointer, and that's why you can have multiple, because creating a cluster index on an existing table is expensive. It will lock the table because it will reorder it. And that's why most of the time in production, people don't do it at peak time. They do it off peak time because it's expensive. It will reorder the table. Now, okay. Let me go back to my slide. I don't want to miss anything. Okay. Then we talk about next loop. Now, nested loop. These are the things that you always see in your execution plan. And that is why I'm taking my time to explain now. These are things that you see in your execution plan. You see cluster index, you see non-cluster seek, you see non-cluster scan, you see nested loop, you see merge join, you see arch match join. These are the things you see. Now, what do they mean? Does it mean that the execution plan is good or not? Does it require you to do some exercise? Yes. So these are the things that will tell you. And if you don't know how to interpret these things, then you will not be able to optimize your query, or you'll not be able to identify problem areas in your query. For the first aspect I talked about, which is index scan. This, okay, okay, now, because I want to make it a bit more user-friendly, I will turn it on from here so that we can have the chart on the same page. When I run this now, this is my result. Once it's done, you can see execution plan here. When I look at this execution plan, I see cluster index scan. What does cluster index scan means? Cluster index scan means the query is using your index, correct? But the query is scanning all the index pages that are created. Is it good? No. Is it bad? Yes. Because it is expensive. What if you have millions of rows? That means it's going to look through all the million pages one by one. Now, what you're expected to do is when you see cluster index scan is to try to understand can we use seek? You see the difference now. Cluster index scan, cluster index seek. Seek means it will only go straight to the pointer of the cluster and it picks the page and it returns your output. Okay, let me demonstrate it now. For this now, if we look at this table, we have a primary key index on sales order. This is the index. If you want to read more about the index, you can easily just right click on it. You can come to script as, you can come to create. This will open up the index for you. You can understand the structure of the index from this. Now, looking at this now, please ignore this aspect. It might look scary, so let me just remove it. For now, it's not necessary. This is the index on the table. We have index on sales order ID, and we have index on what? Sales detail ID. That means it's a combined index. They are using 2 columns as the index for this field. Now, if I'm to write a query for this now, and I want the query to use an index, 2 things I might do. Instead of me using, without putting a limit, I can put a limit or put a where clause, which will tell it to go to an address instead of scanning through everything and returning all the row. If I come here now and I say sales or I come here to say maybe sales order detail ID equals to, let's say 4, and I run this now. Let's see the execution plan to use. Is not getting more interesting now. Now, from here, it picks what? It picks index scan, non-cluster. Why? Well, we have index. I expect something, but we have index. Yes, the reason is the order of the index matters. Yes, the order of the index what matters. And if you look through very well, what is the order of the index? Sales order ID comes before what? Sales order detail ID. So now, if I want to force this query to use this index, I should be able to say something like, and sales order ID, let me see, sales order ID, let's pick this. Let's say this equals to, okay, this number. Then when we run this now, let's run this. Let's see the output. When we run this now, the execution plan has changed. You see, it's now using what? Index seek instead of what? Index scan. Should I run it again? Let me run it again so we understand the differences now. You see, this was using what? Index scan. And at this point, what? Look at the cost. It's using 85% of it because it's what? It's scanning. It's doing a lot. It's reading all the index pages. Now, but when I added this, what did it do? It changed the execution plan to what? Index seek. It's more faster. It's more precise. So whenever you are seeing cluster index seek or non-cluster index seek, they are very good. That means that the execution plan, the query optimizer is using the right, is using a very, very good optimized execution, and that is good. So that is wonderful. Now, but when you are seeing seek, when you are seeing scan, please do further to look at how you can optimize it. Scan means you are doing so much, or you are adding what you don't need, or there is no index on that table, or there's no index on that column. So the index, your where clause, always try to have index for your where clause. Always have to have something like a pointer, because where in SQL statements is like pointing you to the address you are going. Let me break it down again to a more friendly, in a more friendly approach. If I give you the address to my house and I'm telling you I live at number 4 Buhari Street, and if you get to I say I live at Buhari Street, and you get to Buhari Street, you don't know my house number. What do? you start asking from number 1. Do you know Ife? They'll say no. Some will even say they know one Ife Dolapo. Some may even, so you understand. But if I tell you, oh, I stay in number 4 Buhari Street. When you get to number 4 Buhari Street, what you just do? You ask, do you know Ife? They'll say yes. And even if there are 2 Ifes, it is easy, other than going through the long list. So that is why always ensure, double check, try to make sure your query uses seek, not what? Scan. Now, let me quickly, there's a lot of things to talk about and my time is fast spent. Okay. I will try to rush a lot of things, but I will try to, I want to understand. So nested loop. Now, what does nested loop means? Nested loop means each rows in the index 1 is looped through rows in index 2, and once there is a match, the output is returned. And this is continuous process until rows in index 1 become 0. Next loop always picks the table with lesser record as its driving table. Now, okay, let me, because of my time is fast spent, I'll have to do a lot of things, but I would really want you to understand what I'm saying. Now, this is example of a typical query. Now, I am to get, if you look at this table now, we have, okay, we need to create this table. Just a minute. Okay, let's create this table. I want to create this table out of this table. It's actually the same table, but I just want to create a table without an index. So let me just say select all into this table. Yes, this is how to create a table from another table. Then you say from, let's say this is the table name. Then you run this. Now, yes, so I've created this table. Now you can come here to just refresh. Just want you to see that the table has no index. We can refresh the table. Now, once the table is refreshed, this is the table I just created. And if you open it and we come into, if you open the panel, you can see that the index is empty. Now, if I run this query, inner join, look at this command, inner join this, and I want this table, I want to get a record for this guy. Don't forget that this table has no index. Look at what will happen. Now, let's come to the execution plan. What did you notice? Table 1 is doing what? Table scan, while table 2 is doing what? Cluster index seek. Why? Because which one is table 1? Which one is table 2? When we look at it, you can see that table header is table what? Is table 2. While this one is what? Table 1. Now, what is this doing? What this is doing is the execution planner, what it does is it creates a table with this ID and it calls it driving table. Look at it from here. That's what we call it. You see, nested loop always pick the table with lesser record as a driving table. Now, if you come back here, this is what the execution planner is doing. What the execution planner is doing is it comes here, it picks this record. It picks this record. It picks this record first. It turns this into my what? Driving table. Right? Now, it now loops through this record from this place. It loops through this record from the index of this table, where the sales ID is equal to this. This is what it's doing. It will continue to loop through, driving table. This is not a driving table. This is search table. I'm telling you what is happening behind the scene. Now, it's the driving table. You can see this section that is called table scan. This is what it did. It picks this record first. That's the first thing it did. The second thing it's now doing is it comes to this index. It comes to this index. Then it's doing a nested loop. If you look at this nested loop logo, you can see that it looks like something that is going clockwise. Now, what it's doing is it's picking this record and it's searching it through this table. Now, until it sees a match and it completes the loop, that is when it will give you results. That is how nested loop works. You can see the name, nested loop. Picks, it works. It picks, it works. Is it good in terms of performance? Yes, but not as good as the other options I'll be showing you. So when you see it, I don't think nested loop should be too much of concern if the table is not too large, because what nested loop does is it tries to pick the lesser table and loops it through the bigger table, which makes it a bit faster. And that is what you can see from the execution plan. But look at the option you have here. Look at an int that SQL Server will do. SQL Server is now telling you that for this query to be good, for this query to be fully optimized, what you're expected to do is to what? Is now suggesting, saying, missing what? Index. Please, can I get response? Is it clear, or can I just get response if it's clear?
Yes, interesting.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Now, what it's now doing is SQL is now suggesting to you, and that is why this is a very, very important aspect for everybody using database. You should be able to know how to do this, because already AI has been embedded into all these management tools, and they're already telling you what you should do. Now, SQL is telling you, create a non-cluster index with this format. If I copy this format now, you can see this format. I'm copying it now. It has even written the command for you. The only thing it's expecting you to do is to put in the name of the index yourself. Let's do what SQL is suggesting for us to do. And let's see if it will not use table scan anymore. Now, shall we? We can just give our index a name. Because the index is just an index. That's why I'm using IX. So it's not, you can use any name of your choice. I can name it Adefe index. So it's not anything big, but it's just better to always write your query in a way that, or create things in a way that once people read it, they can really identify. So I'm just giving it a name. I want to give my index a name, and I've given it the name of the table, and I'm attaching this to it. Now, then we run it. Okay. So let's run it. Say create index and sales. This sales ID. I'm missing something. I don't want to create cluster index. So let me see. Create cluster index is on sales. This cluster index. Okay, I know it's just a common. So when you run this now, you see the index has been created just as the ints, SQL int suggested. The index has been created. Now let's run this query again. What did we see? Index seek. Can you see index seek? Then it did nested loop. You can see table scan is gone. Now, at this point, you saved a lot of time and the query is optimized already because you've created the index. And subsequently, if you are running this type of query, the query will always work very well. Now, there is a more better one you should be looking out for, which is, we call it merge. Now, merge means, let's look at merge. Merge join. This is used when both tables are sorted on their joins. Don't forget, when you create a cluster index, what does it do? It orders the table, right? Now, when you are using two cluster index cluster index from table A, cluster index from table B. I'm using these two cluster index as my condition join. It does merge join. It is one of the fastest. It is the best. It is one of the fastest. It is the best. You can see, I say they are faster compared to nested loop. Why? Because all it does is pointer to pointer. Number 4, Buhari Street. Number 4, Buhari Street. It picks them and it returns your query. So whenever you see merge join, that means your query, you are using the right index and you are using the ordering index. That's what it means. So when you see this, just know that, oh, I've written a good query. This query will pass anywhere. There's nobody that will see that query that will reject it. Now, let's see how it looks like. Okay. Let's look at this query. It's almost the same query, but look at what we have here. Sales order ID, sales order ID. Now, I have these two tables, sales order ID, sales order ID. Now, if you come to this table, you will see that there are indexes on the primary key. You can see this is an index on the primary key. This one is sales order ID. What do I need here? Sales order ID. Index, correct. If I come down to the header also, if I look at the index, I come to the primary key. This is what? Sales order ID. When I run this query now, let's run this query. You can see, look at what is used here. Can you see merge join? Can you see merge join? Now, what this means is doing is, it is going straight. It is not doing, cho-cho-cho. Let's put it that way. It's not looking for any wrong address. It's just going straight and it's picking the index. But this is not too good because the cluster index is still using index scan. Why? Because there's no where condition. And that's just the only reason. Because if I come here now and I put a where condition of, let me look at one of these query, sales header. Let me just pick. Okay, let's run one of these. I just want to pick maybe, okay. So let's all from this. Let me pick, okay, I didn't put where clause. Where, okay, should I use this? No, I want to use something. Okay, let me run this first. Now, when I come here and I say where OH equals to sales order ID equals to this, I want to believe this is a column on it. You can see this return 3 rows, and if I come here, you can see that this has changed to seek. Can you see the difference now? So most of the time, don't always write query open-ended. Always put a where clause. Because when you don't put a where clause, you are telling it to go and scan. That's what you are doing. But you can see when I put a where clause, what it did do? It changed the index scan to what? To index key, seek. Okay? Because of my time is fast spent, I won't be able to cover everything. So I will just share the slide and okay, Ash Mesh, let me just show you. This is the worst. So whenever you see it in your query, just know that you've not done the right thing, because what this is telling you is that at this point is that the query, that means the index that is being used on that table, if there is an index on that table, they are not the clustered index. What hash merge join means, let me go back to the definition so that we can look at it together. It is used for large table of unsorted non-indexed data. So that means when your query is being executed, is using a non-cluster index that means the table is not sorted, and it is looking for record from unsorted driving table from a search driving table, and that's what they call a match. And most of the time, this type of query create temporary file for sorting. In SQL, we call it TempDB. Let me go back to my SQL. If you look at your SQL, you have your TempDB here. This is where temporary files are being created. Where is it? System database. You see? This is very, very poor. Whenever you are using TempDB, you are writing query and the temporary file is being created to then they are now sorted, they are now arranged. It's poor. It's poor performance. So anytime you see this hash match, just know that, please, I need help. And you can see Hint has already given you what to do. What did he say? He said create a non-cluster index on sales ID. Include. Now, because of my time, I won't spend so much of time on it, but I think I will just rush through. I would have loved to talk about Mr. Bing, how many minutes do I have?
I think you have 30 minutes max.
Okay. There's a lot of things to talk about, but it's fine. Okay. Now, one of the best aspects, okay, let me quickly move to cardinality. So, because it is one of the reasons how to choose index. The best thing to do when you are picking an index for a table is to ensure there is cardinality. What is cardinality? Cardinality is the calculation of how selective your index is. That's cardinality. Let me give you an instance. Let me quickly go to cardinality slide so that you can read through. Okay, cardinality is critically in database query optimization and directly impacts query performance. It refers to the uniqueness of the data value in a column or the number of distinctive value you have. That's cardinality. So that means if I'm to create an index on the table, or if I'm to create an index on a column on the table, then I'm expected to make sure that the index has a lot of unique value, because the uniqueness of that index is what will make my query faster. Yes, look at the high cardinality. Customer ID is always unique. That means if I query with customer ID, I will get the result faster. Low cardinality, male or female, we can have thousands of male or female. And what that means is when you have that kind of query, when you have index on that kind of table, it's just like the index is a waste, because the query planner will always use index scan instead of seek. Why? Because the cardinality of the index on that column is poor. Medium cardinality are state departments. Let me quickly show you what I mean by cardinality. And I guess because this is one of the most important aspects. But for those that will join the masterclass for database administration, you will enjoy this the more. I think. Okay, let me quickly do this now. This query is to show me the cardinality, the selectiveness of the index, this index. If I come to this table now, you can see this index. That is indexes header, salesperson ID. This is the index. I want to see the cardinality of the index. Now, look at the cardinality. This index, none, is housing 27,659 records. None. I will show you something now. Very interesting. You can see that database administration is interesting. It's just easy peasy. 274 has 48 rows. That has 274. These are the pages of the index. That means 48 records. That's 48 rows. At the pointer that is kept in index for 274 for salesperson ID. So now, if I run this query now, select all where salesperson is 274. That is the salesperson ID. If I come to the execution panel, you can see that it uses index seek. You can see. Let me run for none. You will see that it will not use index seek. It will use index scan. Why? Because the cardinality for index for none is poor. Out of how many records? Out of 31,4665. None has 27659. When your query planner looks at it, it feels like there's no point in using index. Let me go use scan the whole table, because null is poor cardinality. And that means the index on this record, the index on this column is poor. The only way to correct this is either they enforce not null on that column, and going forward, all tables, all entry into that records are not using a null value. That's a not null constraint, or you drop the index on that table and use another column. I hope this is clear now. So because of our time, I would not want to exist so much of our time, and I hope our masterclass students will enjoy more of this. But just a brush up, avoid using select all, it's not necessary. Use where clause effectively. I've said it earlier. Avoid functions on columns in your where clause. If you are putting functions on column in your where clause, it won't allow the column to use index, because that means it is renaming the index. Join other subqueries. Avoid unnecessary distinct, union, order by. If it's not necessary, please don't use them. Then you can actually look at partition and sharding for optimization. I will have loved to talk more about this, but I think in the master class, for those that will subscribe to the training, they will have benefit of that. Then the certifications that you can do after the training, you can do your Microsoft Azure certification, Oracle certification, then Google has their own certification, MongoDB has, then EDB also has their own certification. And I think that is all for my hand. Sorry that the time was too short. We couldn't cover everything, but I hope you had a nice time with me. Hope to see you again some other time. Over to you, Mr. Agbenga. Adiola? Hi, Adiola. Hi, Benga. Okay. While we wait for Mr. Benga.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed Mr. Dave's presentation and everything. We are taking once again, and we are urging you to take this opportunity on our waiting list. A Google form will be shared very soon to actually get feedback from you guys and to join our waiting list. Please, if you are interested in joining our waiting list, you will go through the chat. You will see some numbers. You can call, let us know, and reach out to us via the mail that was sent to you earlier today to get the link. And that's all. Thank you very much for joining. We really appreciate you guys joining and for waiting till the end. And Mr.
Adiola, just a minute. I think Ruth asked a question. Ruth, can you quickly share your question?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Defe. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you very much for the enlightenment. Although it's the time is not much there. So I've just been meaning to know or ask if there's a part in DBA. Okay, let me just give you a brief background. 2 years ago, I tried to pivot into tech roles, and I was able to learn Excel and Power BI for analysis. So to some extent, I have a basic knowledge of using Excel and Power BI for analysis. But I have also come to see in the course of the training that we have SQL, programming, and the rest of them. And so this has been making me to lag behind. So I actually took interest in DBA, and now I'm seeing SQL, Oracle, and the rest of them. So I just want to find out if is there anything like is there any part in DBA where you can actually do non-coding, any parts in DBA that does not do coding, SQL, Python, and the rest of them, maybe like application.
Okay, quickly, let me answer.
Yeah.
Okay, let me quickly answer because of our time. I think now SQL to me is not coding. You are the one that you are picking it as coding. It's not. Let me be factual. It's English. Okay, it's English. It's just that you need to learn the syntax, and that's the syntax one of the easiest to learn. And when you have a mentor, when you have a tutor or a mentor that is mentoring you in that part, you will see that SQL language is one of the easiest programming language. It's easy. Okay, but now for database administration role, yes, it is not every time virtually most of the things we do, you have interface for it, especially when you are on maybe Oracle platform or you are on Windows platform. Let me use the word Windows platform because Windows makes use of graphical interface and you're not on Linux environment, but you will not be able to advance into senior role. Because when you are exposed to start looking at Linux environment and other environments where you don't have interface and you want to interact, and that is why it is essential for you to learn those basics, those SQL commands. I can't term them to be programming language per se because they are basic English. I hope you understand. But when you enroll or you meet, you can speak with Adiola Onifade after this call. She'll be able to guide you through on what you need to know, how you need to learn them. They are very, very easy. SQL language is one of the easiest. That's one thing I have to say. I think you have another question, Ruth.
No, I don't have. Thank you. No, okay. I don't have. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Quite understood.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dave. You are highly appreciated. And I'm going to definitely call you after this meeting. Thank you so much for your time. I saw the passion in you to pass knowledge. I was saying teaching is something that I see that you love, and sincerely, this is really appreciated. It's a lot of exposure for me today. For the first time, I can say I see performance tuning in practice, not just me hearing about the theory part of it, but I can see it live today, and it's very, very interesting. I mean, it's very, very. It shows that DBA is a very interesting career path for those that are interested, and I can tell you that it's something that is global, right? It's something that can make you get opportunities, whether you are in Nigeria or outside of Nigeria or whatever, wherever you are. And for those that are even planning to, jackpot, I would advise that you have skill. Sincerely, you don't want to come to this place and be doing. I'm so sorry. I'm not abusing anybody. Well, whatever work you choose to do, every work is so far it is legal, right? But if you want a job that is comfortable, you want to work from home, you want something that will give you opportunities to build your own professional profile and brand and all those things. Tech is tech is what will give you that grant. And database administration is one interesting career path that can open doors of opportunities for you. Now, one thing that we preach at Tech is this. You see, all those other edutechs that will tell you that when you finish your training, you are going to get 6-figure jobs. We are not here to tell you that. We are here to tell you that you will do the hard work. I can tell you that his first salary wasn't smiling. But as time goes on,
my first salary was 30,000 naira.
As time goes on, as he kept improving on himself with work experience and all, he has seen a lot of use cases and all. Skills started, growing, and from there, the negotiating power started increasing, right? So all these people that will tell you that you finish a course in 6 months and you will get a $100,000 per year job, it's a lie. It takes time. You have to do the work. You have to learn. You have to get the experience. And from there, your negotiating power is going to increase from there. And when you start getting some work experience, you can start negotiating better. So that's the way you work. Everybody pays their dues. You understand? All those people that tell you that you can come and learn this thing in 3 months and after that you can get a senior role. It's a lie. Tech doesn't work like that. You understand? You pay your dues. You will build stuff that you can show as evidence that, yes, I've built this, I've done this, I've added this, I was able to do this and do that before you can start negotiating for bigger salaries. Some people start from intern, some people got their first role as direct entry level, right? Depending on your level of skill. And I've seen somebody, when I started BI, my second job, I see somebody that was his own first job. And at the end of the day, he was the one that was leading the data team. Because of what? That's my second job. That was his own first job. But what made the difference is that he was very committed. Those times that he was looking for a job, he continued practicing, doing stuff, taking courses, watching videos, and doing a lot of things to upskill himself. So if you are very good at what you do, I'm telling you, you can even start from mid-level, depending on how good you are and how you can talk about what you've done, communication, how you can fit into that company's culture and all. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate your coming here and staying by to the end of the program. I appreciate the speaker for taking your time on Saturday like this. You are meant to be with your family, probably eating chicken and jollof rice. But you took time to be here. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we are going to be having more upcoming webinars in the future. And even, I think, Adiola, we have one on the 10th, right? Coming up on the 10th.
Yes, we have next one on the 10th.
Okay, that one is for which
is
of the programs?
analytics engineering.
Okay, so that one is for analytics engineering. Interesting. So we will also send you a mail to tell you about the program, what time and date. So this is already fixed, the timing and every other information that you need to know. So always join our, free day masterclass, free webinars. You are going to learn a lot from people like Ade that are experienced, that are experts in the field, that can tell you this is how you can pivot into this is how you can do this. That will talk about some technical topics that will interest you, that will make you know, the usefulness of that career path, how useful those job roles they have to different organizations. And this is what we'll keep doing every month for different programs. We are going to be organizing at least one webinar every month for the 6 programs that we are offering. And we are going to be bringing experts, people that are experienced, that will show us, that will do a demo with us and show us some of the technical and interesting things, in different career paths. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Have a lovely day ahead. Thank you. God bless you. See you in our next webinar.
Thank you, everyone. Please kindly fill our feedback form. It's in the chat.